Hi, everyone. I hope that you're doing well. And if you're not doing well, that's okay too. Just know that it's temporary. I'm speaking with someone who I know and love. She is a animal empath, and that's basically what we're going to be talking about today is animal communication and animal empathy. But she's also a spirit oracle, energy healer, spiritual teacher, and mentor. Her name is Marie Lune Fortin. So I wanted to welcome you. So hi, Marie Lune.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you look gorgeous, by the way.
Oh, thank you. So do
Yeah,
you?
I
No,
do.
you
Okay, so today I want to talk about animal communication, animal empathy, everything animals from like the spiritual perspective, I guess, from like a energetical perspective.
Mhm.
Just because I feel from like anyone I've met or know, I feel like you're the one I'd go to. Like I feel like you're the animal whisperer. Yeah.
Well,
So I wanted to ask you, first of all, what is it that you do? Like, what is an animal empath?
so if you were to go and look into the description of an empath, under empath, there are lots of different types, I guess, of empath, right? And there are some that connect with different vibrations, different energies, and like in just our own natural way. So you can have an earth empath, you can have a weather empath, you can have an animal empath, you can have an emotional empath. So those are really connected to emotions in particular. It doesn't mean that we don't all connect in that way, but it's like our lane, our natural lane, I call it.
Right.
So as far as being a nat animal empath, it means that, and for me, I'll explain it in my own way and how I experience it.
Yeah.
So that's my truth.
Mm.
It is my vibration is naturally closer to animals than probably anything else
Right.
that's on Earth.
Okay.
Other than when I'm in my very human self. Right?
Okay. So you think it's almost like innate, like it's just something that you're just born with the frequency that aligns with the animal realm, like, or was it more learned and discovered, or a bit of both?
It was definitely since I was a little kid. So it was like innate, definitely.
Cool.
Do I believe that everybody can do this still? Absolutely. Does everybody has the ability to harvest that and learn through this and grow it? Yes.
Right.
The way that I explain it, let's say you take two carpenters, okay? And you've got one carpenter that was born just like since it was a kid making things with, wood and just being super good at it, like naturally, and ends up making it his career, his path, and selling his
Mm-hmm.
products. And then you have somebody who goes to school to learn how to be a carpenter and
Right.
ends up, with a degree and ends up having a business and selling his stuff. They're both carpenters,
Yeah.
they're just different in their vibration and energy. And one is not better than the other. It's just different.
I completely understand. I'll use the example where I was in dance class when I was young, and some people were naturally flexible. They were just born out of the womb and can do the splits. And some people have to work towards the splits,
Exactly.
Exactly like
That's
that.
exactly it.
When did you answer the call to work with animals? Like, were you young, or was it you always worked with animals, or was there like a specific day when you're like, okay, I need to really focus on the animal realm? Like, what ignited that?
It's kind of it's not like a moment.
Yeah.
It goes in went in phases for me. Often it is never black and white with me. It's in the gray.
Okay. Okay.
And it started when I was a little kid. The unit, the family that I was in was definitely a difficult one. And when I would find my solace, where I would go and find my safety was with, at the time, my golden retriever, my dog.
No. Oh my gosh.
There would be a lot going on in the house. There would be some fighting going on. There would be just that energy was intense. It was just too much for me. And I would go into the basement, and then my dog would do the same. We would end up in the same corner together, and we would just wait it out together. We would snuggle. Often I would fall asleep. I would be crying with him. And then we'd go up when everything was done. So that was just my natural, way of being. And I was always with animals. If you wanted to find me, my parents were like, I was somewhere with animals. And back in the day, people had cats, and they would cats would give birth in wardrobes, like in
Okay.
closets a lot.
Okay.
When I was a
Yeah.
little kid, I was always there in the closet with anyway. But it started where my father told me that at some point I told my dad, I said, the dog would like to have cold water. And he said, well, he has water. I said, no, he wants colder water.
Mm,
My dad was like, what? And they didn't really believe it. They entertained it, and then they gave him colder water, and then the dog went straight to drink it.
right.
So to me, it was just like, oh, yeah. It's like I could feel in my body. I could hear them. They would give me images. I would just know what they desired, what they needed, where they were at, and what was going on. And the cool thing is that I felt the same from them. I felt seen, acknowledged, and understood.
Oh my gosh, my heart. That's so sweet. I kind of understand if you're such a sensitive and empathetic soul, it's almost like, yeah, the animals had a much more gentle, a less intense energy that you were able to empathize with more or vibe with more.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. If I call it telepathy or clairvoyance, like psychically, empathy, understanding, and communicating with animals, because that's animal communication. How did you start to use that or practice that? How did you start to practice and use that sort of gift?
When I started to really, really want to take that, what was natural and easy also, I was like, that is so easy for me to do. And I didn't realize that easy was okay back then. Often we think that, what we do for work or in our purpose, it should be difficult. And it's quite the opposite. When it's natural and innate and easy, it's because it's what you're meant to do.
Mm.
So when I was about, I want to say it was 2015, and I got very, very sick.
Okay.
And without going into the realm of what that was, it was very difficult time where I also, I just didn't want to be on earth anymore, and acted on it. And at some point I was like, okay, I need to be determined to move through this and heal. And one of the first thing I did is reconnect with horses. So horses were a big part of my life when I was young.
Yeah.
My dad had one at some point, but it wasn't like I could step outside my home and they were right there. We would have to go and travel and kind of thing, right? But they were part of my life. Then I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to reconnect with horses. And I did that through equine therapy.
Okay.
And what that means is that I get to work with someone that is that guides a session that is, along the lines of a psychologist while you're in the presence of a horse. And the horse acts as a big biofeedback machine.
Okay. Yeah.
Gives you information about you and your state and where you're at.
Right.
But the biggest thing that happened is that when it reconnected me with the world of animals, and it brought me back into my heart, which is what I needed to do.
Okay.
To be able to heal. I was suffering from OCD.
Okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. And it was OCD with thoughts, so intrusive thoughts.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was at a point where I was so disconnected from myself. I didn't know what was real and what wasn't. I just didn't anymore.
Right.
The key was to move out of my head into my heart. And something magical happens with horses. They are big animals, and their heart space is 8 times bigger than ours.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And it's what we call coherence of the heart. So when you're in the presence of a horse, if the horse wants to also do it with you, what happens is that your heartbeats start to sync together.
Okay.
And they start to calm your heartbeat. And then the anxiety start to lessen and start to calm down.
Oh my God.
Your body.
Wow.
And that's where I feel the most at home. That's where I feel the most connected with me. That healing brought me back to a passion that I had always had but I didn't know I can turn into service.
Mm.
And when I say service, the service piece was not really directed to humans at first, I'll be honest. My
Mm.
service piece, and I've always wanted that to stay towards the animal because they do so much for us that we don't even see or know about.
Yeah, I believe that.
And then I realized through assisting animals, and that would be cats and dogs and birds and all of them, then I started to also assist and teach humans. So it was my natural, fluid way to step into another role through something that keeps me in my heart and my body. It keeps me aligned at my best. I just love it so much.
Yeah, that is just so, so, so beautiful. And I never really thought of that, of how animals can be a healer in the way and like assist us in healing, but it makes sense, like a dog who licks your tears away. But, I work a lot with flowers, and it's like if I meditate with a rose bush or like roses, I feel like it stimulates my heart. So you speaking about the horse kind of having a similar effect when you're breathing with the horse and calming it's really cool. So it makes a lot of sense. I have so many questions, but like what animal was, I guess, pivotal, I guess the horse, or pivotal in your healing journey? Or is there different, like a healing medicine per animal? Like if I feel some way, I should go ride a horse. So I need to see a dog, a cat, a bird, an octopus, a fish. I don't know. But what is it like with like like specific animal medicine or like animal energy? Yeah.
They all have their little I always do like this. It's like a frequency, like a little radio stations that I
Yeah.
call.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
we can tune in. And because we are all different, so my connection will be different with different animals, depending where they're at in their journey. So I can work with a dog that is a old soul and a
Yeah.
cat that's a young soul. So I can
Okay.
connect with that. But there's also, like you said, the species, vibration or collective consciousness.
Right.
For me, I'd say the two that are really the biggest ones in my life are cats and horses.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Why? What's different about a cat and the horse versus a dog and a fish? Yeah, or example.
I think it depends of your personality, and it depends
Okay.
what you're also meant to heal and
Mm.
what you're doing in life. So, for example, a cat has this beautiful ability that when you're sleeping, if they sleep or they are close to you, often they are in the spirit world. What they're doing is that they're protecting you from lower vibrations while you're sleeping. They're your
Oh,
eyes.
cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
okay, yeah. Because I look into like lions, just the feline species in general, like lions at the driveways, like lions and cheetahs, they're always used for protection. And even like in Egyptian times, there's something very sacred about felines and cats and protection. Anyway, so that checks out. Continue, yes.
And I'm also an introvert and I'm also independent. So I understand that cats are like to come at their own pace. And because when I was young, safety was something that wasn't present, either my body or my emotions. I didn't feel safe. Cats have this thing where they will go where they feel safe. So I'll give you an example.
Mm.
When you're in a room and the person that usually doesn't like the cat goes to them.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah.
It's because that person is letting the animal come to them on their own term. It's not because the cat knows and is trying to bug them. Everybody else that loves the cat's like, oh, and then the cat's like, no,
Hmm.
that's not my time. That's not boundaries. So cats are good about boundaries. So
Right.
I've always felt very safe with cats because we understood each other's boundaries.
Right. Oh my God, that's so fascinating and totally true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Go ahead.
thinking of getting a cat. I want a cat so
Mhm.
bad. I want a cat so, so, so bad. I never had a pet that's like my own and like cat is speaking to me for those exact reasons. I can just already like psychically feel like I'm gonna have a cat and the cat's gonna like boundaries, like I'll be here and here she's over there. And like, yeah, there's like an independence, but feeling each other. Anyways,
Yeah,
I'm really excited.
really deep and really amazing. I'll give you another example how
Yeah.
animals help. So I have my cat Flo. My horse got sick a few months ago, and at the same moment, she got sick as well. And she started to have blood in her pee, and did lots of testing, was trying to figure it out. We did everything, get to the conclusion that she has actually, I can't remember the word exactly, but there's something with cats that if they feel very anxious and stressed, that will happen, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
And that's at the moment I started to get very stressed. And I was having a really hard time. My anxiety started to go up. I started having panic attacks, and I hadn't had them in years. I was just going through something really big with my horse, because my horse was like my sister, my best friend. To
Of
me, it's a
course.
family member.
Yeah.
So Flo has been working with me, assisting me in that in her own way. It's not that I'm making her sick or anything like that. She's making me aware that, oh my God, I need to calm down so I can help her as well. So
Mm,
they do that for us. They bring us awareness. And at the same time, we're working on something that's very parallel. We moved, and she's trying to learn where she stands, what's her space in here, you know? So it's about
mm,
territory. And for me too, I'm trying to find my place, how to speak up for myself
right.
more and more. So Flo and I are on this parallel path. And we had a contract before we met, you know, as little souls. And we were like, this is how we're going to help each other.
Yeah, that's so sweet.
Mhm.
How animals kind of really do mimic your energy and assist you with healing and everything. And I wanted to ask you about that too, because I feel like there are evolved souls, there's star seeds in the human realm. Not that there's like a hierarchy, but like depending on their purpose, some people are meant to dive into spirituality and rebirth and discover magic and their potential. And other people, don't have to do that in this life. But I feel like with animals too, you can perhaps tell if an animal is like a highly sensitive or also an empath or an evolved soul. Because when I was young, to me, all cats were cats, all birds were birds, all dogs were dogs, all fish are fish. But then as I got older and started to connect to animals, I just, I came to see that, they all have a soul and they all have different personalities and they're all different.
There are, like humans, you know, animals that are meant to be healers. That's their mission. So animals have missions, right?
Right. Okay.
You have some animals that their mission is to be just pure joy, but you have also evolved ones. You can have animals that are old souls. You have some that are younger souls. You have some that have easier lives, that are calm,
Mm,
and some have harder lives. And
right.
actually, on that note, I feel like it's important to say this. You know, when someone or an animal we look at them, we're like, oh my God, their life is so easy and fluid. And why?
Mm,
Often we don't know, but these animals or people might be resting from a really difficult life before. From before, they might have had a past life before that. That was a really hard one. And this one, they're about enjoyment and resting.
right. I can
Or
sense that.
they are resting for the next one. That might
Right.
be one of evolution, and whew, you know, that where's going to be a lot going on, a little bit more challenges. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really does. I can feel that too, where like let's say an animal is on a voyage in the wild and it's because they're meant to learn specific lessons about being in
Mhm.
the wild and safety and whatever it is. And then yeah, you see those princess dogs that live just a fabulous life. It's almost like a parallel to humans too, where like we,
Right.
depending, yeah, like some humans are blessed with riches and fame or whatever it is, and some are not. Some go through much harder things, but it depends on the soul contract and what we need to learn. So that makes so
Exactly.
much sense
Yeah.
in the animal realm as well. So when it comes to animal telepathy, how does it work? If you can try to explain it a bit more, and how is it different than humans?
Okay.
Yeah.
So the way that it works, like this is where we get a little
Yeah. Yeah. Our antennas are coming out.
exactly.
Yeah.
So telepathy is when you are trying to connect with another being. So I'm
Right.
not going to go just with animals, just in general with another being, either consciously wanting to or unconsciously.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. If you think of someone, and all of a sudden they call you, you might have consciously been, I should call this person. They unconsciously might have pick it up and then call you.
Right.
Or like me and my horse, what we would do is to sit just nice and quiet and just consciously want to just talk to each other. So the way that animals work is that they will send you and you can send them. It's like images. So the way it's like if you close your eyes and you see or you imagine something, it's like a television within your head.
Right.
That television can also be there when your eyes are open. For me, it's like the television is wide and in front of me, like a big, what's that in English? A cinépark. What's that like?
Like those movies in the cars.
Yeah, like a big movie theater, but outside,
Right. Like a drive-in. Yeah, I can't. I know what you mean. Yes.
It's a drive-in, yeah. You can receive and you can give images. So
Right.
let's ask a dog, what's your favorite toy? And I'll listen and I can see a blue ball.
Right.
That would be it. You can also use what we call, it's like your inner ear. So when I say I hear, it's not necessarily that I'm hearing like with my physical ear, like the way you and I can hear each other. It's
Right.
inside, within my head. And I know that it's not my thoughts because it comes from I have learned that it comes from different corners of my brain.
Cool.
And also sometimes it can come from outside in. So for me, I know that it comes from my right side. And I only know that because I have really observed, been aware, and been journaling.
Yeah.
So I can see a pattern on how I work.
Right.
It's like I can see the way that it works for me. I can see and hear the words at the same time, like on a teleprompter. When you watch something and you get the words, it's like the same thing. It's hard to explain. And I work this way and somebody else might a different way. The difference with telepathy with humans and animals is that when, let's say that I'm saying something in my head to, my horse, I'm saying words and I'm thinking something. They don't have the language of words like we do. You don't recognize that. But words have a vibration and they pick up on the vibration and the intention behind the words. And a human can do that, plus knows the language of words.
Right.
So might be able to see the words as well or hear them.
What I understand is that you use clairvoyance and clairaudience mainly to connect to animals. You see things and hear things, and clairsentience, you feel things.
And my body very much so. It's probably my biggest tool for me. So
okay.
When an animal is hurting or a human being, I can be in line at a grocery store and all of a sudden, my neck will start to hurt. And I'm like, whoop, okay, hold on. Something's going on.
Yeah.
Is mine or not? So I think it will never stop for me to try to differentiate what's mine and what's not. Because I have good days and bad days as a human. My bad days are hard to figure out what's mine, what's not. I'm in my emotions. I'm in my shit,
I hear you. I feel you on that.
And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. I just need to keep practicing and trusting what I'm getting. But that is something. So if I'm doing a session on a horse, so I'm also a massage therapist for horses. Cool. When I move and I work with them, I can feel, my sessions are shorter because I know exactly where to go and what to do. I'm not just doing extra stuff. I know where there's tension. I know where they need and how they feel it. They'll tell me. I'll feel in my body. If I'm going too hard on them, I'll pull back. It's a very, very useful tool to feel it in my body. It's taxing though.
Right. Yeah.
It definitely makes me tired quickly. And my close friends and people in my life that are close to me understand that about me and give me space and time to rest, I sleep like a champion.
I believe that, just being a sensitive soul, working all your physical body, emotional body, spiritual body. You can speak to animals physically, like, oh, you want a treat? And then they understand treat. So there's like they understand English, some of them, right? But then what you do is speaking to them psychically, telepathically, clairvoyantly, clairaudiently. But the thing is that the animal would also be speaking that way too. That means animals are also psychic. Are all animals psychic? Can all
Yes.
animals communicate? That's very cool.
Yes.
Do you think all humans can as well?
I believe we all have the ability to do it. Yes.
Yeah. But do you find animals are more receptive to telepathy?
Absolutely. Because their vibration. So let's say we stand here,
Okay.
their vibration is above us. When I say above, I don't mean better or worse. I just mean it just is a vibration higher than hertz,
Right.
frequency.
Frequency. Yeah. I can see that. Kind of like angels in the other side, they're very high up, and it just makes sense. If humans are worried or not worried, but like struggling, if we're not eating well, if our vibration lowers, whereas animals tend to, they're not into lying, cheating.
Exactly. There's actually an exercise that I do with my students where I have them connect with different frequencies of beings. So I pull in a certain being that wants to come in. So either a deceased person, a fairy, an angel. And then they pick up on the vibration where it is and also around them where they stand. And when it comes to animals, they are up and above there, so there's like a scale of some things.
That makes complete sense. And I feel that too. If I'm in the presence with an animal, there's like a sense of higher frequency, which brings me to my next couple of questions. And that is kind of like animal spirit messages. So what do you think it means? Like when you see an animal, like perhaps you see a butterfly or a dragonfly or a frog, or perhaps it's a mosquito, or perhaps you see a fox or a wolf, how do you connect with like spirit messages from animals and things like that?
You can either connect, let's say I'm seeing a fox. Okay.
Yeah.
It's my favorite animal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And actually,
we'll talk about that.
I know. So let's say you see a fox. It can be that it's the collective of the fox. So that means the fox as what we would call, like in shamanism, you can go into, the medicine of. So the medicine would be what they are here to teach you, through who they are, their qualities and their healing powers. So it could mean, let's say I see a fox, it could definitely mean, I can go and look into a book to see what it means, right? And that's how a lot of us start. We use something to assist us. So, like readings, a lot of people will start using cards, it's a tool that helps you focus until you can achieve a level of confidence in yourself or trust where you can all of a sudden start to connect with the animal. And then I can either go look in the book, but now what I love to do is really connect directly with the animal and ask, what's your message for me? So might be one that's personal for me.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that what's in the book is exactly for me. That is what I always try to explain to people, to be very careful to see what resonates with them, because somebody in the book, that person is a human. They've put their human touch.
Yeah.
It's only one truth. It's not all of the truth. Your truth and your person comes, from you and yourself. So if you're reading, you might be able to be like, oh, you know what? Yes, that connects, that doesn't.
Right.
But eventually you can put that aside and connect directly with the fox.
Exactly. Okay. So it's like, let's say I see a fox. I do this too sometimes. I have like an animal book, spirit messages. So I'll be like, oh, what does fox mean? uh,
fun.
if you see a red fox, it means this. And I'll be like, oh my God, yes, it does. That resonates. But I know what you mean. If you see a red fox, it's almost like to tune in and start to feel what the message is saying. So what is the fox trying to tell me? Yeah.
Yeah,
So then meditating with the fox.
exactly.
Very cool. Okay. So I thought we can play a little game. So I have an animal deck here. It's the Spirit Animal Oracle by Call It Baron Reed. Do you know this one?
I do actually, yes.
Also, one of my favorite decks ever, which I like 'cause it's animals. It's the Tarot of Curious Creatures. Do you know this one?
Oh, I don't.
Oh my God. Okay, let me just show you. It's one of my favorite decks. It's such like it's a tarot deck, but
Mm,
they're all a bunch of, well, yeah, let's pull a card. Let's pull a card from the Animal Tarot.
love it.
Okay. Oh, cool. So this I got the card. Death. But
Death?
yeah,
And
but
it's a horse.
it's a vulture.
Is it a vulture?
Yeah.
It's funny. From far away, I'm seeing the shape of a horse head.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, it does look like a horse. But let me pull one more just so, and then obviously we need to talk about these things. But yeah, okay, for instance, Three of Wands, which is a deer. So what I like about this deck is that each card in the tarot is associated with like an animal frequency. Yeah. Like the card Death kind of makes sense. Well, you know, death is about endings, things that we're meant to let go. Sometimes physical death, but it can be a good thing, like a death of a bad habit, death of a toxic relationship. It means the ending of something. Yeah. And then vultures, which I know vulture really does connect to death because, you know, they what I got from vulture is that they sometimes assist with the passing of a soul. So although they eat a dead animal, there's almost like a rite of passage. It's almost kind of sacred. It's kind of like I am eating like it's eating the corpse in a way, and it's almost very spiritual in a way. It's like a rite of passage. So that's where I feel like vulture energy connects to death. Yeah.
And it connects with that new beginning as well, you know,
Yes.
because from death, something new comes in, and they are so important. Vultures are so important because they clean up. They clean
Yes.
up the earth, you know.
Yes.
They imagine if everything that was dead was stayed out there in the world, it would become dirty. We would become sicker with so
Mhm.
many things. And anyway, I could go on and on about.
I know what you mean, but it's like so many people are scared of death and so many people are scared of vultures, but really it's not something to be scared of. Okay, so that's fun. One more card here is Three of Wands. Now this card I know in tarot because I love tarot and I studied tarot. I want it to be focused. Where Three of Wands talks about future planning, enthusiastic about your future, looking ahead. And something about a deer is that they are very observant and they look, there's a sense of looking deep into the distance. There's a sense of being very sensitive with their eyes. Like they're very observant here. So that's why that animal energy to me, like if deer, like that's why, if I see a vulture, to me, it's a message of death, where a deer talks about being observant and looking forward and thinking about the future with such speed and enthusiasm, right? So that's what I get from deer. Do you get anything here?
Absolutely. Yeah. Actually, also, this one would be about being cautious about the choices. It doesn't mean being in fear. It's two different things. Being cautious is about being in a calm, observing way, like you said, but observant to within yourself, the awareness as choices as well, what's out there for you. And it connects, deers are connects, if it's a totem, usually people who connect really strongly with deers are teachers.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So talk about that totem animal and like spirit animal, because I love this as well. And I really associate myself with totem animals, but talk about that.
So I am not, this is like another realm in itself. And
Right.
I know a little bit, and I do want to say I'm not a professional in that way. Like I don't know everything about it.
Sure.
But
Okay.
I'll speak about it from my own personal experience. A totem animal would be pretty much the animal is you and you are the animal. So what I mean by that, so I don't know if you can see my fox right here.
The fox. Yeah. Okay.
Fox for me, it's like a love for an animal that comes from, doesn't make sense. Like, let's say somebody absolutely loves whales, but lives in Kansas. Like,
Yeah.
what is going on? Like, there's this obsession almost with the animal. It's your favorite animal. Often it's because you, in some ways, have a lot of qualities connected to that animal, and that animal is there to assist you in their spirit presence. So I've always, since I was a little girl, loved foxes. And it's funny because I have, red hair,
Yeah.
and it's you all sometimes can almost look like your animal in some ways, like long and lean. And also the personality, you go further than that. So
Right.
foxes are playful.
Yeah.
They are also tricky. They like to pay, they're tricky and they pay attention, and they're very smart in the way that they get to their ending game.
Yeah.
Not
Very
in the wrong
clever.
way. They're exactly.
Yeah.
They're very sleek. They're very sexual beings as well.
Mm.
My cat is here. Flo, Flo.
Oh, hi, Flo.
Those are all qualities that I loved the fox. And then I started to connect more with it as a totem. And I was like, oh my God, I feel like they're describing me in here.
Mm.
And if I'm going through something, let's say that I'm working through something in terms of my feminine energy. So foxes are about feminine energy. Then I can do a meditation and ask the fox to come in and help me with that, with
Right.
their healing powers, or with
Okay.
their messages.
Right.
It can go really far. Also, your connections. So about 2 years ago, I started dreaming about one specific fox, and it has been now ongoing often, where I am standing looking at something, and I have my friend Fox sitting next to me, and we're looking. I think I've had
Mm.
4 dreams like that. We're sitting next to each other, and sometimes we're hiding in the bush together. We're observing people and situations, and we're learning. And so I now have this rapport with this animal in spirit that's very strong to me. I think it feels like a best friend almost.
Yeah. Okay. Like a kinship, like a connection for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Got it. So if the fox is clever, witty, intelligent, sexual, it's because you also have those energies. So that is like one of your totem animals, like a totem pole.
Yeah.
Super
You
cool.
can have power animals as well,
Ooh,
So
what's that?
I don't know if you can see, but I've
Oh,
got the polar bear
polar
right
bear.
here.
Okay.
So polar bear is one of my power animal, and power animals can come in and go.
Okay.
An animal stays with you.
Oh, got it. That makes sense. I
Like
feel that too.
stays
Yeah.
with you from almost like a guardian angel.
Right. The animal spirit, it's like connected to your being,
Yeah.
whereas a power animal comes and goes depending if you need that frequency to, overcome whatever hurdle you're going through. Yeah.
Yeah, almost, in indigenous cultures, how they often give a name to someone and there's an
Yes.
animal. That would
Yes.
be their totem.
Totem animal. Right. Exactly. It's like at the being of who they are.
Yeah, power animal comes in a time where you need their strength, you need their qualities for a specific phase or challenge of your life, and they can come with you, stay for a while, they can leave. They can also come in later in life and stay, but they
Mm,
aren't necessarily there right at the beginning when you arrived here as a soul.
super
Um,
cool.
so for me, the polar bear is one of my animal that comes in as power when I need.
So it comes and goes. Is the polar bear spirit with you now, or is it not?
In this moment, you mean in my phase of life?
In this chapter, yeah.
It is. It has been, I
Oh,
would
okay.
say, since 2020. That's when it came in. Hi, Flozy.
Interesting.
Yes. Want to
Cats are
say,
welcome in this video, yeah. Hi.
say hello, pretty girl?
Does she like the camera?
Mm,
Hi, Flo.
she's my pretty
Oh,
girl. Yeah. Wanna
what
like-
a sweetie.
Thank you. So Yeah, I just love these. I just love animals in every form, in all the forms. It's
Yeah.
where I feel my best. It's where I just, uh, you know,
Mhm. Yeah. And that's a really good vibration to have is love, right? Like to love the
yeah.
animal realm. When I was young, I loved dolphins, 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 dolphins. My whole room was dolphins, everything I loved. And this was like younger, like maybe 8 or 9. And it's interesting how my favorite animal would shift. And I wonder if it's because that frequency was needed. In high school, I loved flamingos. I thought they were the coolest freaking animal. And I was like,
Oh,
perhaps had a flamingo vibe back then, But it's interesting. Right now, I really like owls. I really like cats. I want a black cat so bad. And it's interesting. I'm dyeing my hair black. I feel like I look like a cat.
I think something like a tuxedo cat coming in for you, like black and white
Okay,
tuxedo.
well, I'm literally dressed like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh my God, cute.
Yeah, a
Oh,
tuxedo cat, like a cat that's, yes, black, but has a bit of a difference, a little touch of something different with some white,
yeah. Thank you. I can't wait to go
almost
cat
like on
shopping.
the nose or something like that. Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't wait. Each card in this deck has an animal. I'm
Okay.
going to pull a card, and then
Okay.
perhaps someone's watching. This will be someone's spirit animal or totem animal or power animal, or perhaps you can, or we can do it together. Let me know what messages come or what you feel from this specific animal frequency. Okay,
Okay.
let's see what spirit wants to talk about. All right, we got a good one here. It's the wolf.
Wolf. Perfect. Is it a gray or a red wolf?
I'm glad you asked. It just says wolf spirit. Talk about both. Well, to me, it looks,
It looks a little reddish to me.
yeah, it looks brownish,
Okay.
reddish.
Perfect. Okay, we're gonna go with that. Okay. All right. So it's never a coincidence, who watches and who feels called. So for whoever's watching, I feel that for some people, so the wolf is about being able to find your space, your place within a group. So there's a hierarchy, in a wolf pack.
Yeah.
Um, and being able to figure out where you fit and where not where people believe that you fit, but where you feel you fit.
Mm.
So, and it's in terms of your own abilities, your strength. So it's a big, what I'm hearing with this, it's about learning about who you are and your gifts, and when and where to use them. And in society also, now they're showing me like the collective, so a collective of wolf. And in society, where you can bring that and be of service to others. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah, kind of like authenticity and being like true to yourself within the wolf pack kind of deal. Like there's something to me, it seems like throat chakra, like truth, authenticity being yourself. I don't know if that kind of makes sense with
Yeah,
wolf.
it does make sense. Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
we'll pull 2 more animals. Yeah.
For
Let's see. Next animal. Another one, dog.
dog. Okay, perfect. Oh, we're staying in this same kind of realm.
Yeah, not feline, canine.
So the word that's coming in is companionship. So let me tune in into that. Oh, I love that. It's about learning how to be your own best companion. Um,
Oh yeah.
you know how we often look in others for what we want and need, and
Mm,
interestingly, we feel like we're not finding those people to fulfill those roles. And often it's because we are not fulfilling that for our own selves first.
mm-hmm.
So when you start being on the path of being your own best friend, the way you talk to yourself, the way you act, how you take care of you, then you start to pull in that energy in other people as well. And I'm hearing being your best companion.
Interesting. So this was really kind of being your friend, being your own friend, taking yourself out to dates or being, yeah, I like that. That is such a sweet message. Oh, that does seem very dog spirit, dog medicine-ish.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, I was seeing a bird. So here it is. This is a more interesting one. So I think this might be a couple, but it's a white raven. So
Oh,
this could connect to perhaps just white birds in general or ravens,
mhm.
but I was sensing bird. So go ahead.
So the white has to do with, which is often connected with white animals. It's the feminine energy often.
Okay, cool.
And also purity and connection with spirit, which is
Right.
also something tie-in with birds. There's that connection. They can go up and above. And I'm hearing intelligence, like deep intelligence, tapping into your own intelligence. So what they're saying, they're showing me tapping into your own intelligence as you can rise above.
Mm.
Which will assist, people to be able to spread their wings.
Mm. Hmm.
Mm.
It's so simple, connecting to an animal. It's very like okay, one more. It just popped into my head. It would be zebra.
Zebra. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I'm keep hearing reading between the lines.
See, that's it's so specific because they have, lines. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I feel like when anyone wants to connect to like, okay, I see a squirrel, what would that mean? Like it's just you can look at the actual animal. Like what does a squirrel do? A squirrel hunts, it gathers, it's resilient,
It prepares. It's always
it
on a little
prepares.
mission, busy,
Yes, yeah.
and yeah.
Perhaps you need that frequency. And I really believe too that if an animal comes, it's not a coincidence. There's no coincidences ever, even if it's something common like a squirrel or a
Yeah.
ladybug. I feel like no, there's a specific reason. And a slug, I saw a slug the other day and I was like, well, that's with reason, So I looked up slug, I meditated on slug, and I was like, okay,
It's
moves.
cool. It's really neat. Like, it's funny how humans will be like, ooh, slug, or ooh, a worm. But like, oh my God, these beings are like, they're incredible. The science of how they do and why they do things is like
Mhm.
incredible if we were to go further than just the way they look.
Yeah. For instance, I remember when I lived in Germany, I thought like there was less bugs. It's full of buildings. Like there's no screens in the windows because you don't need them. There's no bugs. And
Yeah.
then coming back to Canada, I was like, oh my God, I'm actually so thankful for bugs. I used to like hate bugs, like all of them, but now I'm a lot more thankful for, the animal realm.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So my last question is when animals depart. I know it's sometimes like I think of my sister who when she lost her dog, it was the most heartbreaking I've ever seen her. And I've heard people say that it's almost worse than losing, a human. Like you come so attached and love to an animal. So animals on the other side also have an energy, also have a frequency, also have the soul. So how can one connect to that energy, and like how can someone find healing once their pet has died, if that makes sense?
Yeah. Ah,
Hmm.
interesting name. I just lost like my horse, about a month and a half ago. And
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be very honest. I think being very honest with yourself as a human and giving yourself the time first to really feel deeply how it affects you is important. And it's important to also understand that when we're in that deep suffering, it's a little harder sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes to connect with your animal that passed because you're so in your emotions. So your awareness is not out. Your awareness is not on what could be, but it's here and it's where it should be. It's perfect. There are instances, though, where an animal may have passed and is a very old soul, and they're so strong, and that in the midst of you suffering, they'll just make it so clear you cannot question it. Like, it's not, you don't even try yourself to connect with the animal, they connect with you. So that's also a possibility. And sometimes it's just to be open to that and to in that suffering be, come and see me, come and show me that you're around me, make it very clear that it's you. And often they will do it. They will come to you in ways, and they will come quickly. But often as humans, we dismiss what we get because they do them all the time. So, you know, when somebody, one of the most common thing is to feel like you can hear the paws of your dog, you know, at night.
Yeah.
You know, and most of the time it is them. That you recognize that. But for us, it's like, oh no, it's just me making that up in my head. No,
They're around.
They are around. I remember when I lost my cat Twix about 2 years ago, and I asked Twix, and I said, Twix, can you make it clear about, you know, how I will know you'll come and see me? And I asked, I said, choose something in the physical world that I'll know it's you. And as soon as I said that, there's, you know, the flower, like the pissenlit, the dandelion, white fluff, just went right in front of me and landed on my horse because I was brushing my horse. And I'm like, that's you. And that day I went for a ride and I didn't think about it. I went into the field and it was like dandelion fluff everywhere, like maybe half hour after I said that. And now I just know it's like this, you have some kind of a connect, like a communication that is beyond words. It's a communication with a sign that you form with your little animal. You know?
Right. When I say it's like when you lose a loved one, they're around, they'll send signs, numbers, patterns, symbolisms, but pets are the same thing. You know, pets also have a soul and they're also around, very, very close by, sometimes even more close by. You know, just because they didn't speak English on Earth doesn't mean they can't communicate with signs on the other side. Yeah.
Exactly. They know how to get to us. And I think, you know, one thing that somebody can do is to connect with somebody that, like us, that are mediums, that can connect with their animals or past, to give them a starting point, one, of healing, and two, the animal can give us information where to start to look, you know, for them.
Right. Like, let's say someone has a dying dog or a dying pet, and they don't know when should I put them down, what is the need, whatever. If they have trouble communicating telepathically to the animal, they can come to someone like you, where you can be the conduit of information to pass along. Oh, okay. You can say something like, I don't know, like, oh, they're ready to go, or, you know, they want to walk a little bit more. I don't know, but you can kind of pass along messages before they pass. So
and after, you know, and after as well.
And after they pass as well. That's beautiful.
It really helps, you know, be able to have that. And there's a lot of guilt with humans in terms of their animals. Often the biggest thing is guilt, is like, did I do the right thing? We think that we take their lives, you know, with euthanasia and all that. And we never do. We don't take their lives. We are part of their plan.
Yes.
They chose to have us move through this and do that with them and for them. As difficult as it is, we are just playing a role in their life plan.
Yes.
And I think that can help to really like be like, okay.
That needs to be said and understood by so many people, that you're not murdering your pets, you know. No. It's that they're voiceless, they can't speak, you know. So it's like, if you get that call, it's because they spoke to you telepathically saying that it's their time. And that's the one thing, is when you own it, when you have a pet, you're the owner. It's part of the responsibility. It's like, you get all the good things, you get love and compassion from this animal, but you know, you also have to make those tough calls. Thank you so much for your vulnerability and thinking. You know, you lost a horse, and I just know the horse is with you. Was it a girl horse?
It was. Her name was
Piper. Yeah, I feel like she's loud and like has a loud voice, you know. Very, very unicorn like, very majestic, very powerful. I can sense it was like a healer, spiritual.
She's something else. I've had many animals in my life. She is it's something else, I'll tell you. And even the way she passed, the story is incredible. And she She's the only animal that passed in my life that has been coming in on her own so strongly and so often.
Hmm.
And she looks like a unicorn. She was white.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just picking up on some energies, so you can let me know if this resonates with the horse. There's something very stoic and either stood really still or something with her bones. I just feel like I'm seeing her posture. I don't know,
Mhm.
just a really nice posture and like, yeah. And I feel like wouldn't move. Like I feel like very stoic and statue-like. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And it's funny because I thought about her this morning, and she used to do help kids to learn how to do trick riding. So kids would learn she would just stand, not move, and they would learn to do flips on her or do handstands or things like that. So
Oh, okay,
she
yeah.
had to just stand. And she was a tall girl, like, and she just
Hmm.
really tall, like the way that she was, like, yeah. So that makes a lot of sense what you're saying.
Yeah, and that she's a unicorn, I would say. I feel like unicorn energy exists, and I feel like she was a magical horse, aka
Yeah,
unicorn. And one more thing, do you know if she likes thunder or lightning or the rain, or there's something with the weather she enjoyed? Does that make sense?
she didn't mind at all being in the rain. She actually, of all the horses, I remember in the last herd she was, and she'd be the only one just standing in the rain on her own, just while
Yeah,
everybody was hiding. And she was just like, oh,
I
she,
see that. That's what
mhm.
I'm seeing. That's so sweet. But yeah, I just want to see if there's any messages since I'm talking to Hyper, is her name?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like she just gives you kisses with her nose, or there's something with the nose, putting her nose near you, or
She was she wasn't a big kissy one. I'm the one who actually would want to kiss her all the time, and she'd let me do it once, and after that she'd be like, it's enough.
uh,
So when she passed, she was laying down, and I just, laid with her, and I just gave her kisses for half hour, and I just kept saying, now I can kiss you as much as I want,
yeah.
and
She's
yeah.
kissing you back now, is what I think it is. Like once you pass over, there's no more ego. So you learn the lessons and stuff like that. So perhaps she was a bit standoffish in some ways, in the most beautiful way. But I feel like she's just giving a bunch of kisses, loving you so much back, giving you a hug. Okay, my dear, where can people find you? What kind of sessions do you offer? Do you have any programs, workshops, anything coming up, anything you like to tell people, how they can reach to you, etc.?
You. That's so sweet of you. So I work not only with animals, so I work with humans.
Yes, and you're
Yes.
amazing with humans too. I get sessions from you. Marie Lune does oracle cards for me, and she's amazing as well. Anyways, yes.
Thank you. So I work with humans in energy healing. So I have energy healing sessions. I also work as a channeler. So we tune into your own spirit team, and we, channel the messages that want to come through. We move through, often I have people that need assistance in connecting with their purpose, or moving through really big healing times and reconnecting with themselves. So that's something that I do with humans. And I also do mentorship. So I assist people one-on-one to develop their gifts. We personalize the mentorship. I adore doing that. This is really, I love, love, love teaching. And with animals, what I do the same thing. I do animal healing as well, energy healing. I assist also when it's time for an animal to pass away, so I can be present before, during, and after, so we can give the messages and ensure everybody is okay, taken care of. And I am an animal communicator, so I have sessions where we just have a conversation. I'm like the telephone line between you and your pet. And if
Yeah.
about specific things we want to look into, or sometimes just to get to know your pet better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the last thing I do, I'm a massage therapist for horses. I'm really developing this piece with horses now, and actually have a animal communication course. My next one is going to be at the end of September, actually in Kingston. So it's going to be in person, and it's my only one in this year, actually.
2023. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's about to come out like this week.
Cool. That's awesome. What a bunch of beautiful offerings. I feel like the animal realm and the human realm thanks you, and the spirit realm. I think there's a bunch of thank you. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. By the way, just when you talked about passing animals through, I saw Archangel Zadkiel. I don't know if you connect with him, and Vulture Spirit. So I think perhaps Vulture works with you too when you're doing some type of passing stuff. Okay, well, this is so much fun. Thank you so much for talking to me. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. I love you all. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.